Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our program. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle, and today we have with us Eric Rosenberg, who is with Personal Profitability. Welcome to the program, Eric.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, so tell us a little bit about your background and what your focus is on personal profitability.
Sure. So my background, I grew up in Colorado in the Denver area, and I knew from a pretty young age that I was into the business world. I actually had my grandpa when I was really little. I used to go visit him, and he took me to the only computer terminal that they had in Fayetteville, Arkansas at the time, where I could see him, watch him update his stock tickers. So when I was pretty little, I was out with my grandpa and learned about the stock market and budgeting, and then that became the direction I went with my career in college. I have both an undergraduate and an MBA in finance, and I spent about 10 years in the corporate world doing a variety of things in banking and corporate finance and accounting. And along the way, while I was working on my MBA, I loaded up on a whole bunch of student debt. I ended up with about $40,000 in student loans, and I was working a little bit on the side online to make a few extra bucks, try to help pay that debt off as quickly as I could. And actually just about a month and a half ago, that side business grew to the point that I was able to leave my full-time job, and now I'm a full-time self-employed online worker. And that is through a combination of my site, as you mentioned, personalprofitability.com. That's where I help people who are on a similar journey, battling debt and trying to grow their wealth and income. And I also have a freelance business that's under Narrowbridge Media, which is the parent company for Personal Profitability. And there I do freelance writing and website design.
Neat. That's quite a story. And when you mentioned corporate finance, it brought back horrid flashbacks to me, because when my MBA in marketing, I got straight A's, but then I got a B. The only B in the whole program was in corporate finance, and anything with numbers just gives me the willies. So, but you know, if everybody in the world did one thing and not the other, then you would never have good balance. So we need those money people out there.
My sister, just last weekend, I was out actually back in Arkansas with my sister finishing to celebrate her finishing med school. And Now that she's a doctor, she's going to be cutting people open as a surgeon. And I thought that is probably the very last thing in the entire world I would want to do, let alone give someone a shot or anything. I couldn't do that. So
well,
you know, we have people with different interests.
Yep. We'd hate to see her student loan bill.
Oh, yeah. That's into the six figures.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. That's just the part of the game. And you know that going in, and that's what you do. So what made you think of at the first time you thought of doing something on the side? Because when you hear internet income or online income, all of a sudden you think about all the spam emails you get and all the pie in the skies and the things that, come on, that's not going to work for me. So what was your first foray into making some extra side money?
Sure. So I started, actually, I've always had an interest in computers and internet things, technology things. When I was in high school, I started my first website. I used to be a huge pro wrestling fan. I admit that The Rock was my idol when I was in high school. And I started a website, and there was then a Yahoo advertising thing. This was before Google existed, let alone Google AdSense. And I got a nickel every time someone clicked on my site. That was actually the first side income I'd ever earned in my life. Those websites are long gone, but flash forward to when I was in college, I started my first blogs as a hobby, and I never really thought of that as a way to make a lot of money. And my first ones were more journal-based or political thoughts on the world, where I figured everyone should listen to me because I'm always right on what's going on with the economy. And although those didn't get a lot of views, it did teach me a whole lot about how websites work, how connecting with communities works online. And a few years later, I started my personal finance website, which morphed into what is now Personal Profitability. It was, I learned a lot of lessons on the way that if I had to start over, I would have done it very differently. But those lessons also brought me to where I am today. So I couldn't have been here without having made those mistakes. I started with a horrible domain. It was at that time, narrowbridgeadventures.blogspot.com. Great name for a personal finance site. So I started that, and I wasn't making a ton of money with that at first. It's like you said, you get all these emails and things look very spammy, and they're like, "Oh, make all this money from home," and it is not easy, and it takes a lot of years of work to really build up an income from something like that. And for me, what really worked, I still do make some money from my website, Personal Profitability. But what really happened was that brand led me to meeting so many personal finance bloggers and members of that community that I went to a personal finance blogger conference, it's called FinCon now. This year it's coming up in the fall in San Diego, and I've been to every single one since the beginning, I'm proud to say. And through that conference, I've gotten to connect with great brands like I've written for Travelers Insurance. I've written for Betterment. It's a big investment company. So I've made all those connections thanks to going to those conferences and connecting with the community. And that's where the real income started to come in. I've seen many people who can make millions of dollars on their own websites, but for me, it was that my website became a platform to launch my other business of freelance writing for other companies using my website as kind of a resume, and I like helping people improve their money situation. So it's
you made a really interesting point because making money online and blogging, a lot of people think you're just holed up in your house with your laptop, and too many times the people that don't succeed are the ones that just remain that way. And do you read the magazine Success magazine with Darren Hardy as the publisher?
Not regularly, but I'm familiar with it.
You should get on his email. He does a Darren Daily email with a little video motivational tip. It's really neat. But today's was, I forget the title of it, but the point that jumped out at me when you were saying that is he was talking about we can all sit there on the couch and think positive thoughts and plan things, but nothing happens until you get your rear end off the couch and go make something happen. So What you described, to me, describes that exact concept, because making money online and blogging, that's half the battle. You joined a networking group, or no, you took that to network at a conference. You got on a plane and went somewhere, and you actually spoke words to a human being in real life, and you shook hands, and oh my word, that's not online income. But guess what? That relationship led to more business, and I think that's something that a lot of people leave out of their equation.
Exactly. There's so much to be said for building a strong network and a good foundation and connecting with a community of people who are like-minded. When I started, I'm practically a dinosaur in blogging years, having been doing it for I started my first blog in 2006, so I think that makes me about 85 in blogging years.
Yeah, really, in online years.
But when I started, there weren't that many finance blogs. Now there's probably hundreds of them out there. But I don't look at new finance blogs coming in as competition, like, oh, well, now people are going to go read them instead of me. And of course, I'd rather that people come read my site than read another. But working with those other sites and becoming part of a community with them, it's not a zero-sum game with this. There's a lot of opportunities for it to be win-win for everybody, and there's an unlimited number of people almost in the United States who could really use personal finance help, let alone around the world. And we don't. Everyone has a different little bit of a niche, a different group they're trying to speak to, whether it's people dealing with credit card debt or trying to start a new real estate investment business, or my big focus is helping people start by earning that first dollar on the side and growing your wealth from that point. So we all have something to offer, and by connecting with a community of like-minded people, we can really help each other succeed. And that has been a great experience for me.
So when you do start talking with or working with someone to help them make that first dollar, what's the first thing that you advise them to do to start?
The first thing that someone should do is look at what skills they have that somebody might be willing to pay for, because that's really all you need for a business. You need to have a skill or a talent, something you can deliver, a service or a product, and a customer and a way to deliver that product. Yeah. So start by looking at yourself, go look in the mirror and think, what am I good at? What are my hobbies? What do I love? And odds are there is something that you already do or you're already really good at that someone would be happy to pay you for. For me, it turned out that was writing about finance topics and building websites. But for some people, that could be landscaping design, or for someone, it could be helping people organize their homes who are on the path towards becoming a hoarder on TV or something like that. Yeah. There's so many skills people have. I mean, the easiest one, a lot of us think about the handyman, because there's professional handyman services, but I think everybody knows someone who's really handy around the house and might go out and help someone, install a toilet or put up some shelves or add a fan where there was a light in a room, things like that. That's a great example of a business that someone who has a talent and a skill can get out there and make a few bucks. Think of something, we're not all, I could definitely never be a handyman. It'd be scary to have me trying to fix things around your house, but
me too.
We all have some skill. So think about what your skill is and get out there. And I build a website then is the next thing, because with our current, the current economy, if you don't have a web presence, you're doing yourself and your customers a real disservice.
Mm-hmm. We know here's something that I would even say is part of what you advise, which is once you do that, you pick that topic and you build that site. It could be a simple, basic website, doesn't need to be crazy. But now you need to start thinking about educating your target audience to some things about what you do. So let's use that, handyman example just as an example. So you could just jump on, with your phone and set up a little, tripod kind of a deal, nothing fancy, and just do a little quick tips and little YouTube videos on specific things that people can do around the house to fix, how to, like here's an example. Our downstairs bathroom the other day, one of the kids locked the door and we couldn't get back in there, so Oops. It's just, and so we're, trying to get all these little deals and finally my wife figured out, if you go in through the backside with a spatula, with one of these metal spatulas. And so anyway, the point is if some handyman shot a little video on that, and because how many times, and I think we all can nod our head and go, yep, done that every other day. We Google, my iPhone won't turn back on after, and then someone's got the same question. Here's the 2-step answer, or, how to find a cell in Excel where you can delete all the blank cells. And it's like, oh, you click, you do, okay, done. So if you can start doing some of these little tidbits and put them on your website / YouTube, that will help people when they find you to see that you have good information. And you give away the why, not the how. So obviously the handyman service, you can give all those little tips and tricks, and a lot of times people still aren't going to be able to do it, so they need to hire you, but it gets you engaged with that target audience.
And a lot of people don't realize, and YouTube is a great example of a way to get your brand out there. It is the second biggest search engine in the world after Google. People go to YouTube all the time. Yeah. So definitely don't discount things like YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. Everywhere that you can be and present yourself professionally and keep that branding consistent across all those places. You don't want to be everywhere and do them all poorly. It'd be better to pick a few places that you can do really, really well, and have all of that funnel back into your website with a contact form or a phone number, some way for people to get in touch and buy what service or product you're selling.
And using that handyman example, you might have someone give you some pushback and say, yeah, but I live in Denver, let's say, which is where I live, and you used to live. So why am I going to put someone on YouTube? Because someone in California might see it, and I'm not going to go out to California and fix the screen door. But if you do it the right way, you could build up enough viewers and enough following and enough tribe so that you can have these little products. And you could put together like a membership. You could sell a membership for, let's call it $5 a month. I mean, just something nominal. But every single week, you're going to get a new updated handyman tip video on helpful things, and you can send in an email one time a month to get a personal response on a tip that you need in your house that we haven't covered on the video. So things like that where it's like, hey, wait a minute. yeah, I might get a few jobs here in the area because someone saw this, but if I can create this product, whether it's a course or a tips or a videos or things like that, now you're monetizing that presence.
Yep, that's actually something that I've been working on my own site. I have a lot of content that's out there for free. I have a few videos, mostly it's written content on my own site, and I have my own podcast as well, the Personal Profitability podcast, which all of that is free. And I'd like to think that it's all, I give my best stuff away for free, but I'm also working at the same time on a course that I plan to sell as another income stream to add on top of my freelance work, because another thing I think is very important and why I started a second income stream in the beginning is it's so important to have multiple income streams, whether you have a full-time job or not, because you never know. And one day, I actually, at an old job, I walked in and my boss sat me down and said, today was my last day, which, that kind of thing, it's a big shock. But when I left the building, I thought, well, I'm making a couple $1,000s online per month. I have pretty good savings. So, I do need to find a new job, but I'm not desperate for money. I don't have to rush and take the very first thing that happens, and I'm not worried about paying the rent and feeding my family, important things like that. There's so many benefits to your finances about building up a side business like this and having diverse income streams even within that business if you're able.
Yeah, that's huge. Hey, so one of your businesses is the Denver Flash Mob, which you live in Portland, but this is the Denver Flash Mob. So tell us about that and how you run that remotely.
Sure. So when I lived in Denver, as I mentioned, I grew up there. I was actually in the Denver area for about 25 years. And when I lived there, I had a friend who I went to a flash mob and became friends with the guy who planned it. And together we had this great idea of starting a flash mob company, which I now run on my own, but actually with my wife. She's running most of it now because it's became a family business. But how it started was we just had an idea. We thought flash mobs are trendy. It's the thing to do. It's what people are into right now. This was about 5 years ago when you couldn't hardly flip through an internet news site without finding something about a flash mob. So we thought, well, let's get on the bandwagon, and we started planning some for free. But we never charged anyone to come be a part of a flash mob. We planned some that were just for fun. Go out to a mall like the 16th Street Mall in downtown Denver is one of our favorite places, or a big park, or outside of a sports stadium before a game. And people would do these fun flash mobs, and then we put on the website and said, hey, if you want to do a flash mob to propose to your girlfriend, we can put something together with the song that you want and create a custom dance and custom choreography. Or if you're having a company holiday party and you want to do something a little special for everybody in attendance, or if you want to surprise the bride to be at a bachelorette party, or there's an endless list of times where it could be fun to have a surprise flash mob. So that became a business that it's not making me rich, but it covers a month or two of rent or a mortgage payment every year. And when we decided for work we were going to leave Denver, we actually just moved about 3 weeks ago to Ventura, California from Portland. So now I've run this from 3 states. So before I left, I put together a great team of people. I already had a choreographer who always does a great job, and I knew I could trust to keep up what he was doing. And someone who was one of the most excited people who'd come out and participate in flash mobs, I hired on as a per-event flash mob manager, and she gets a fee for every event she runs. And we take care of all of the communication, my wife and I, for new prospective customers and people looking to learn more about flash mobs and what it would take to run one. And then we coordinate with our team back in Denver, and we always deliver a great product.
That's neat. And what are you finding most people contacting you to do the flash mob for? What's the topic?
The biggest has been proposals, I'd say, over time in general. But now that it's the spring and summer is really big flash mob season. So we do a lot of corporate events and company picnics, things like that in the summer as well.
Yeah, it's unique and it's different. And I'm sure that, you get these businesses that get the emails and the phone calls and the contacts about every other second for, we can build your website, we can do all these things. Well, you don't get people going, I can do a flash mob for your business. So that's different and fresh. So that's pretty cool. Hey, so if people are interested in learning more about starting to earn some money on the side or personal profitability, what is the best way that they can learn more and reach you?
Well, the first place I would go is personalprofitability.com. It's spelled just like it sounds. And right on the homepage, there's a sign-up spot for an email list, where I send out exclusive content just for email subscribers that you can't get anywhere else. Then I have some great blog posts on starting a freelance business, and some of those actually will come out in the email series when you sign up. So that would be the best place to come find me, and you can always send me an email if you have any questions directly. It's eric@personalprofitability.com.
Super. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful getting to know you.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to meet you and talk to your great audience. Get out there and keep making money, everybody.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.